Dr. Beverly, the host of the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy podcast, Holistic Transformation. And we just had the Holistic Transformation Summit on March 22nd. It was a great success. And coming up, I have a program called Holistic Transformation. It's part of the Holistic Transformation part of my program. It has a prerequisite of Om for Success right here, teaching people how to meditate. It's a 37-day program. It's free. It's evergreen, so you can take it whenever you want. And you have time to sign up for it now if you want to register for my Holistic Intuitive Certification Program. So if you go to dancingbearholistictransformation.com, there's a video there that tells you about it. I'm not going to spend time tonight. And if you want to know about Om for Success, you just go to omforsuccess.com and there's a video there and it'll tell you all about it. I've been teaching it live. I teach it live once a year. And so it's too late for you to join the live. You had to attend the summit in order to join the live program. But in May is the first of 3 classes. So the certification program has 3 2-day, all-day classes, Saturday and Sunday, May, June, and July. And then there's a retreat. So I've tried teaching this online. I've taught it for years out of my office. And when I went online, there's things that you just can't learn without working with 2 or 3 people. And putting people in a group doesn't do it. Sometimes you need to see the whole body. So I only do that part live, and I pulled all of those kind of exercises out of the program and put them at the retreat. So the retreat is live. So the first of the 3 classes, so the first class is an introduction, and it talks about the metaphysics and the physical physiology, that sort of stuff. The second class teaches you assessment tools, so you can look at people and figure out what's wrong. And then I have therapy tools. So you don't diagnose and you don't treat because you need to be an MD for that. But I call them assessment and therapy tools. So the third class is the therapy tools, and the retreat is when we I wonder, my hand keeps getting raised and I never knew why. I must have that wave thing turned on because I was going like this and I raised my hand. Okay, that's weird. Now I figured out why. I'll have to turn that function off. Oh, well, little distractor there. Anyway, that's enough of the commercial, and all of those links are down below. So what else? And if you sign up for the Om for Success and you are and it's a 37-day program, so you have enough time between now and May to finish if you start right away, because it's a prerequisite. If you try to take the class without doing the Om for Success, you're going to get lost, because I'm going to assume you know all the terms that I teach, you know how to meditate and journal and do all kinds of stuff. And I even have experienced meditators go through that program and they all say, wow, I learned so much. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. You've never meditated, you know nothing about meditation, or you're a seasoned meditation or person, you'll get something out of the class. And they're very short. They're 3 to 5 minutes for 30 days. Then there's a workshop. And then there's a 6-day masterclass, but I just send them one day at a time. They used to be a week apart, and I changed it to be the next day, because when you sign into the app, it's on my app, which is either on your phone or on a browser on your computer. And people wouldn't remember to come back a week later. So it's every day. Each day you get one piece. So you keep coming back. Now the webinar is longer, and the masterclass, those times are longer. So they're not 2 to 3 minutes, but that's at the very end. It's just the last seven classes that are longer. Okay. So let's talk about Neptune. So I'm recording this on the 30th, and today Neptune changed signs. Neptune spends a long time in a sign, so it has a major impact. And those big outer planets, so The big planets start at Jupiter. So it goes Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. But not a giant planet, but in the outer planets comes Pluto. So Pluto, they're outer planets, but Pluto's, I consider it a planet, no matter what some people say, is not a giant planet. In fact, it's really tiny. And I've read that Jupiter is so big that all the planets in our solar system would fit inside of it. That's how big it is. So the inner planets would be Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. So those planets affect us personally, although Mars can have, if it has an aspect to one of the big planets, it can have a big impact on a lot of people. But the outer planets, the big ones especially, and Pluto, affect the Earth and all of humanity. And Neptune has been in Pisces. It rules Pisces. And, it's a water sign. Pisces is a water sign. So they're kind of wishy-washy, flowy, And Neptune is about dreaming and delusions. And so it's been kind of a crazy time for quite a while. But in Aries, fire sign, all that energy changes. And when it changes, coming up, Saturn, which is also in Pisces, is going to move into Aries and will be conjunct, at least for a while. It moves faster than Neptune, but it spends 2, 3, 4 years, depending on if it goes retrograde, in one sign. It takes about 30 years, 29 years to go around the sun. So Neptune will be there probably at least 14, 18 years. So when you look at that, they're going to be in the same house. Now, I use whole house. I'm not a Placidus. I'm a medical astrologer, not a mundane astrologer. Mundane astrologers tell you based on what the alignment is, what happened in history at that time. And a natal astrology looks at your natal chart and how the transits are going to affect you. Medical astrology only looks at certain houses and certain signs and certain planets, mainly the sun, the moon, and the ascendant, sometimes Chiron, sometimes North Nodes, depends on your chart. But primarily, we're looking at a subset and how it might affect your health. So what I'm talking about right now, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, is basically you need to look at your natal chart. And there's several places on the internet where you can do a free natal chart. So just say free natal chart and you'll get something like astro.com or Astromagic, or there's a number of places like that where you can get your chart done for free. And if you have planets in Aries, you may want to get a chart done because you'll be affected. Or if you have planets or your ascendant, your sun sign. Your ascendant is based on your time of birth. So if you don't know your time of birth, I would find out. Look on your birth certificate, ask if your parents are alive, ask your parents, at least get it down to a time frame. And then you can talk to some astrologers, do chart rectification. So you can find an astrologer that does rectification, and they will figure out based on some significant times or dates in your life, like if you got married, you had a child, you got divorced, your mom died, some significant events in your life. And then they can look at, well, if you were born in this sign, what would it be like on that date? And now that doesn't make sense. And so they can keep adjusting, and they use a little bit of intuition and meditation, and they figure it out. And then they'll say, okay, your ascendant is this. And that way you can find out what your ascendant is, because it's actually more important than your sun sign. People in the United States, they read the newspaper and they say, oh, I'm a Capricorn, or I'm a Aries, or I'm a whatever. And that's what they read. They go by their sun sign. And everybody says, what's your sun sign when you meet, right? What's your sun sign? Your sun sign is what you do for a living. It's your business. It's your profession, generally speaking. Your ascendant is who you are. It's your first house. It's how you present yourself in the world. So if your ascendant is Aries, you're going to really get hit with this energy. Now, I already feel it. I felt it. Last night, I slept for 8 hours. Now, I sleep 5 to 6 hours a night. That's it. I'm done. I get up. I'm ready to go. I can't stay in bed longer. If I stay in bed longer, I'll get a headache. I slept 8 hours. Hello. What was that about? So, you're going to be affected. I don't care who you are by this energy. I talked to someone today and they actually had a different reaction to the energy. So it depends on your chart and what it looks like. But I always do real well when something's in a fire sign, because in my Chinese astrology chart, I'm called a fire dog because I have Mars conjunct my sun. So it seems like whenever everything goes into a fire sign, I do really well. So know that. Look at your chart and figure out what's going on and how it will affect you, because it's going to affect you for a very long time. Now, you may not feel the energy right away, the energy shift, but it's going to start happening. There's a notion of boiled frog syndrome, where it happens so slowly you didn't notice it. You put the frog in the cold water and you boil it to death. You put it in hot water, it jumps out. And that's what happens to a lot of us. It's just an incremental little change. And before you know it, we're going, oh, I went from there to there. So I'm asking you to be aware of that so you can see what's coming. So when you start becoming aware of these little changes coming at you, you can prepare for it, whatever it is. It may be good, it may be challenging, it may be difficult, it may be something you don't want, you may have to move, it just depends on your chart. And the only way to know what house it's in is to know your ascendant, or your rising sign, it's also called. So you need to know that to know the house. And so, if it's your ascendant, it's your first house, it's who you are. And if it's the 12th house, the 12th is about hospitals, institutions, jails, or it could be massive spiritual enlightenment. So knowing the house really affects the meaning of everything in your chart. You can tell a lot by the sign and by the planets, but knowing the house makes a big difference. So that's why I encourage you to get your ascendant somehow. So that's what's coming. And it is a massive energy shift because it's going from a water sign to a fire sign. And depending on your chart, water can either put the fire out or the fire can evaporate all the water. It just depends on what's stronger. So that's why you want to know what's the energy that might be affecting you, because people are predicting that this is the year of the massive change, 2025. And a long time ago, some psychics that I know said, if you can live through 2025 and 2026 and make it to 2027, you'll probably live a long time, which means a lot of people won't be lasting. Although I believe humanity is starting to wake up. And the more people that wake up, the more it changes the timeline. So you may have a psychic that says, this is what I predict, but things change because we have free will. And the more people that wake up and at least start to question the lies they've been told. I tell people, you've been lied about history, been lied about science, you've been lied about medicine, been lied about space. You've been lied to about religion. That doesn't mean religions are bad. And but some of the people that are now, quote, religious leaders are really misleading people. Not all of them, but some. So it depends on which group you're associated with. So you need to be very careful and use discernment and critical thinking. I know they don't teach critical thinking in school anymore. People have become puppets. So if you're probably a boomer, you're probably not a puppet, but I do know a lot of boomer puppets. But people are starting to challenge, wait a minute. this doesn't make sense. And the people who are protesting the challenge, I'll just leave it at that, are upset because Satan exists and he's controlling some people. And guess what? They're losing. They were winning. They thought they couldn't lose. Remember someone who lost an election who said, and they thought she couldn't lose, but she did, because people are waking up. And as Neptune is in Aries, and when Saturn moves over next to Neptune, there's a lot of structures that are going to be torn down. And you've already heard that in the news. Some of the things, certain government agencies will be shut down. I'm not going to say anything. I'm an independent. I'm not on either side. I don't like either party. We've been deluded for so long. But I'm talking spiritually. What about you from a spiritual perspective? Are you ready for ascension? Are you ready to see through the veil? Are you ready to be telepathic and read other people's minds? Some of us have been telepathic for decades. Some of you have never been telepathic, and when all of a sudden you're in front of somebody and you feel what they're feeling and you hear their thoughts, oh my goodness, you're not going crazy. Everyone transmits all the time. Not everybody's listening. That's how you talk to animals. You look them in the eyes. You connect soul to soul. Now you know if you're kinesthetic, clairsentient, you're going to feel how they feel. You feel their pain, whether it's emotional or physical. You feel it. Oh, your front leg hurts, and you could feel it. And sometimes they'll send you a vision. So maybe they were hurt in an accident, and all of a sudden you'll see their experience that they had with that accident. And what happens now when you start doing that with people? I've been doing that with my dogs. I mean, one day I was working on a computer. All of a sudden there's a greenie in front of me. I'm going like this, and I realized, oh, it's not in front of me. Oh, it's my dog. Oh, she wants a greenie. So they'll send you images when they want something, and people do that as well. It's just not everybody's listening or paying attention. And in 2025, with these energy shifts, that's going to start happening to everybody, whether you believe it or not. So some people might go crazy. Some people might think, they just go off the deep end. So those of you who are awake need to know that and help them and say, it's okay. We're going into fourth density. We're leaving third density, because it's not some people will ascend and others won't. We're all one. There's no separation. We just think we're separated because we have our individual body, our separate name. No, we're actually all one. We're all part of source. We're not God. Some people say, oh, I'm God. No, you have a spark of God. It's like if you took a thimble of water out of the ocean, it's ocean water, but it's no longer part of the ocean. It's differentiated. If you put it back in the ocean, it disappears. A soul is part of source, and we have that spark within us, but we're learning how to be differentiated so that when we do go back to source, we still remain who we are. We still retain our differentiated identity, but we're still part of the whole. So we have to work as a collective, not as an individual. For the last several thousand years, we've been working as an individual, not as a collective. And when you work as a collective, that's what Aquarius is about. Pluto's in Aquarius. Pluto's going to tear apart all of those things that prevent you from being part of the collective. And that's part of the changes. So some of the structures, Saturn's structure, it's kind of depressed in Pisces. It's not happy there. But as it moves into fire sign, fires can be destructive. They tear things down. And you've got Neptune there, which is dream it. Because with our minds, That's how we manifest. That's how we create, is with our thoughts. So when we have our thoughts saying, this organization is not helping us, I want to be part of this collective, and together we can create a love, peace, harmony kind of a world together. So that's how you can be individuated, but part of the collective. So you still live an individual life, but you're part of the collective that only wants peace, that wants justice, that wants no more wars, that doesn't want no more nuclear weapons, that sort of thing. So as a collective, that's the kind of world we can create when we are now removing those structures that hinder humanity and create the structures that elevate us, enlighten us, and bring peace, love, harmony to the earth. So that's my message for you. Figure out where you are in terms of astrology so you can understand the energies that'll be coming at you, and everybody's different. Your astrology chart is unique as your fingerprint, okay? So I hope you can figure that out for yourself and understand how these energies will impact you, because they're going to impact you for a long time. Okay, so thank you for joining us. And remember, this is free. It's the prerequisite to I don't have a bullet up here. Anyway, I took that one down. I used to have one that said holistic transformation. So it's dancingbearholistictransformation.com. And like I said, the links are down below. And if you decide, okay, I took on for success, I like it, and you want to do the certification, if you sign up before May 1st, you will, and you send me an email, I will send you a coupon for $50 off of the class, off of the holistic intuitive class. Okay, so thank you. And if you would be kind enough to like, subscribe, and if you think this message would benefit anyone, please feel free to forward it. So thank you for joining us. And remember to be the light you want to see in the world.